Good evening. Welcome to the September 20th meeting of the Newmarket Town Council. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one counselor excused tonight. Amy Burns is away. And we'll begin with public forum.
Mr. Chair, we need to seal the minutes in non-public.
Thank you, thank you. Could I have a motion to seal the non-public minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Abstain.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 to 1.
Okay. Do we have anybody participating in public forum?
And do you need to make a motion to,
That's right.
for your purpose? Sorry.
Sorry.
Let's try it again.
At this point in time, could you make a motion to, would somebody please make a motion to accept the tax deeds of map R5-165 and U2-108?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Abstain.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 to 1.
Let's try one more time. We now have a participants in a non-public meeting.
What? Non-public?
No.
Public.
No, public.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. Public forum, that's what I meant to say. Third time, I still didn't get it right.
Roseanne Fox, Wellesley Falls Road, Newmarket. I was just interested in the last resolution in ordinances in the first reading, under 8B, I.
They're not acting on first readings tonight. They do that at the second meeting.
But before, just so you have some information to consider and discuss that might not be evident to some members. I'm chair of the CIP, and certain things were brought to my attention at some of the meetings, and I was very concerned about it. You're going to try to enter into an agreement to fix the dais up here, I believe, right? Is that what that's for?
Mm-hmm.
And what will the cost of that be?
It is.
Not to exceed $10,000 for the complete rewiring and the woodworking of this.
Okay. And how necessary is that to do? I understand the woodworking will be just to update it and make it look, modernize it.
We're having wiring issues with the microphones. We've been having some for some time.
What's the percentage of cost for the wiring? And can the wiring be done without the rest of the updating?
I think I'll discuss it with the council at the next meeting.
Okay, only because of the fact that we also need about $10,000 to fix the Tiger building. We are our Tiger, where are my papers?
These are two separate funds.
Huh?
One's coming from the cable, and one's coming from the building. That would come from the building improvement fund. This is all cable money.
This is, okay, so
Yeah.
it's not money that could be used for the
No,
Tiger?
it's only for cable and that kind of
Okay,
situation.
that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
find out. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea when the Tiger building will be fixed? That's around $10,000.
Yeah,
I was
that-
just comparing. Gretchen, no, she was at the CIP.
The facilities director is going through all the buildings right now.
Yeah.
So we'd probably have a report sometime later this year.
Oh, yeah, I know, he's only here for 3 months. He's
Yeah.
been doing a great job, very, very helpful on CIP. But if any money could be found to fix the Tiger building.
What's the Tiger building?
It's where the Tiger #1, it's a historic building, and the
Fire station.
Tiger.
Oh, the old, oh, okay, sorry.
And the Tiger itself was built in 1852. I mean, it's 165 years old. So we have a historic building that also has a historic artifact in it. And for the last 3 or 4 years, when you drive by it, it has been in complete disrepair. Paint is peeling, you can see down to the wood. And as you know, a stitch in time saves 9. And that wood's just going to get worse, and you're going to get rotten. What else? And if there's $10,000 anywhere in your budget, I would like to see that done before anything else. Okay? Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Seeing no other people at the podium, public hearing is closed at 7:05. And I'd like to consider the acceptance of the minutes, starting with the August 30th joint town council school board meeting. I'd accept a motion to approve those minutes, please.
So moved.
Second?
Any corrections, any, any suggestions? Seeing none?
Counselor Finch.
Abstain.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 to 1.
We next have the regular meeting minutes from the September 6th meeting. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and does anybody have any, anything? The only thing I had was minor, but it's the third page of the minutes, 10th page of the packet,
What line?
line
please?
124.
Mhm.
It's just GZA is the engineering firm. It says GCA in the minute. It's just a misspelling.
Should say GCA engineering.
GZA, yeah.
GZ, as in zebra.
Oh, Z. Sorry.
Okay. Call the roll?
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Finally, the non-public meetings from that September 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 6th non-public minutes.
Second?
Any changes, any? Seeing none, go.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Word of the town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item is that if you've been driving around town, we've begun our paving projects for this year. The reclamation of New Road began last week. It will be paved hopefully sometime next week. They're currently now in the downtown area up on the hill paving. So I know I drove up and Granite Street was being done, and trying to think which other ones were up there when I saw them. But they're going to start those. They're doing those now. So but it should be taking no more than 3 weeks to complete. The as the town council knows, we went out for RFP for update to the town financial software. We received 3 proposals, and we're reviewing those right now. They're quite extensive. I can tell you that one of them is about 6 inches thick. And we're going to have a team from the finance, town clerk, IT, and other departments going to be reviewing them. We do have money for the first year's lease payment because we're going to lease the system, and it is current year budget, so we can move forward. Fiscal year 18 budget, there's nothing out of the ordinary to show right now. You do not have a revenue budget in there because until we don't set revenue budget until usually probably around a couple weeks. That's when we go in and set the tax rate. At that point in time, we'll show what our estimates will be in comparison. Right now, it will show everything's 100% over because we have 0 in all of our estimates right now for revenue. So, but we're doing fine on revenues as well. Some items on the unwritten report, we did receive the lawsuit for the New Hampshire DOT versus the town of Newmarket for the Route 108 South widening project. We are filing the state filed it for summary judgment against the town. We are filing our response, and we should have that done shortly. And other than that, that's all I have tonight, Mr. Chair.
Were you going to mention at this time or at another time something about having motion?
Oh, procedurally, yes. I think one of the things that to make it smoother and maybe even help the clerk in doing the minutes is having one individual making the motions. Most councils, it's usually the vice chair, because I don't know if everybody knows, the chair and the vice chair actually have an annotated agenda that actually gives a little script of what's going on in case what happens. But that would assist it so that the clerk will automatically know that the vice chair is the person making the motion, and then whoever seconds it, she can be looking for that, because I know sometimes she's looking around saying, well, who made the motion, who made the second? And it just may be easier for, if there's no objection to that.
Does that make it easier for you?
I know you people now.
It takes 6 months, but it's like you're doing new ones. But it's just a suggestion.
Does she have to move? Or
She-
does she have to?
No, there's no motion, no, because it's just a procedural, it doesn't have to.
It requires no vote.
It requires no vote, it's just more of a understood type situation. Anybody can make a motion. Right. So, that was just a suggestion, there's no.
You want to try that?
Fine with me.
Okay.
We'll give it a
Fine
whirl,
with
see
me.
what happens.
Okay.
And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Chair.
Oh, there was, I had a couple questions from the, there's no, oh, Council Cass, sorry. Let me start with you.
So, let me know if I'm not supposed to do this at this time.
Okay.
I wanted to know, can I ask about what the latest status is on our joining the challenge to the MS4, the EPA's MS4 situation?
I have not received an update from the law firm,
Okay.
so.
Council Weinstein?
I just wanted to make a comment on the police report and the statistics that the chief gave for heroin-related overdoses and deaths. It's pretty staggering, the way the numbers have decreased over the last 3 years. 45 overdoses and 4 deaths in 2015, 22 overdoses and 2 deaths in 2016, and 9 overdoses and 1 death so far in 2017. And that's just incredible, and I think says a lot about our police department and the work that they do. So, thank you.
It's sort of a reverse of the trends that are going on everywhere else. That's the-
Exactly, yeah.
On page 47, I have a question from the facilities report. Just, it says the town's stormwater integrated pest management program. Is that mean to read that way? Stormwater integrated pest management?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
what is that?
Part of our stormwater.
You gotta come up to the microphone.
Part of our stormwater requirements is also to look at pest, fertilizer, herbicides, insecticides that are used within our own properties. And you have to create a management plan on how that works and how that's recorded as part of our stormwater compliance for our MS4 program.
Okay. I didn't know. Thank you. And there's one other minor misprint in the report. It says the CIP has to be presented. It says 9-1, it should be 10-1.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah, just 10-1. Yep.
And that's all I have on from my end. Any committee reports? Councilor Cass.
I didn't go off, oh, okay. All right, so I'm reporting on the CIP committee. I've been very busy the last couple of weeks. First of all, I had a takeaway to clear up the question about the amendment to their rules of procedure. Recalling that during that committee's previous meeting, they had amended the rules to include ex officio members from various town department heads and the administrator. As originally amended, this meant town employees would be voting members of the committee. As that was not the committee's intent, this part of the original First Amendment was removed. Any questions about that? Did that clarify it? Okay. All right. The town department heads provided facility tours to the committee on 9/11. In addition, presentations and reviews of the CIP requests for the school and town respectively were on the 14th and 18th. I think a kind of a common thread of concern that we heard by department heads was proper support of asset maintenance, particularly facilities. This isn't part of the CIP per se, but is a key factor in protecting value of assets so the town doesn't face potentially costly replacements before enjoying the full life value of investments in those assets. Some of the CIP requests are to address where maintenance has not been prioritized, and now assets require major repairs or even replacement. I want to make sure that this is not interpreted as due to what the departments do and their activities, but due to whether enough funding has been provided along the way. Deliberations and preparing recommendations to the town council is scheduled for next Monday, the 25th, and a backup on Thursday, the 28th, if additional time is needed. I wanted to say that I agree with the chair's comments in the last council meeting, or I think it might have been the joint meeting with the school board, that the council should have more details of the CIP process, particularly regarding longer-range planning. I think it's been valuable to have two counselors hearing these details via the committee, and I want to thank you, Chairman Pike, for attending all those tours and meetings, even though you're the alternate. That's been a pretty heavy time investment. Also, the department heads for their time and effort in putting these requests together, a lot of detail and information, also in reviewing them, and in advance to the committee for the time they're going to put into presenting or creating and putting together their recommendations to the council. I just have found the whole process really enlightening and pretty significant coming up. So, sorry for the long report, but I think it's pretty important.
It's the right time for that report. The only other comment I'll make on that is that the time when the council will start to hear about the CIP process is not that far away at our, the CIP should be wrapping up, and tentatively they may be, in October, we'll have a joint meeting with the CIP so that we'll have figured out exactly.
Well, it's not a joint meeting, it's a presentation.
Good clarification,
Yeah.
but the net effect is we will hear from the CIP directly this time and talk about the process.
You'll hear from the staff presenting the CIP, who've worked with them.
Okay. I bet the chair will be
The chair will probably be here, but it's going to be
Just saying.
Yeah.
So, and then, again, when we do our workshop, we'll front load it with quite a bit of discussion about the plans for the CIP plan. So I think that's a fair way to say it. So, any other committee reports? Seeing none, we move on to old business, which is, let me get caught up and find that page.
7.
Thank you. Resolution 2017-18-8, authorization to withdraw $25,500 from the sewer CIP for pumping station improvements preliminary engineering. Whereas,
Just, for second reading, just need to read the title.
okay. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution, oops, I have my glasses on, 2018-08, authorization to withdraw $25,000 from the sewer CIP for pumping station improvements preliminary engineering, Director of Environmental Service. Oh, there you go.
Okay, second?
Second.
Take it away.
The town has 6 pumping stations that actually pump wastewater to some pump to the Creighton Street pump station, which actually get the wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant. We started several years ago looking at these. At the same time, we were looking at the wastewater treatment plant. We knew because of the cost of the wastewater treatment plant was very costly that we couldn't just do everything at once. So we performed some evaluations on what needed to be done. Some of these stations haven't had any work done to them, major work done to them since they were put together. For example, Bay Road was put in 1983. Everything's still there, is the same. You go to Salmon Street, 1977 is the generator. You go to Packers Falls Road, and we have equipment in there that's 1969 electrical equipment, in a damp environment that's pretty much past its time. The air exchange unit in there, because we're supposed to have proper air exchanges, is failed and not working properly. So we knew we had a lot of work to do, so we did some evaluations. We looked at high priority items, medium priority items, and low priority items. And we started to put money away to do this work. There's approximately, I think, $580,000 that has been put into the fund to do this work. What this piece does is goes back and looks at these stations and evaluates them and draws up sketches and figures out what the costs are and what we can do, and so we can arrange our work. So this is basically to have the engineer come in, sit down with staff, look at the stations, draw up how we can best do this, and then we'll be back in front of you to ask for additional monies to move forward to the next step for design and bidding for the work.
Councilor Thompson.
It's probably a question more for the town administrator. At the top of the resolution, it says authorization to withdraw 25.5 from the sewer CIP.
Should be capital reserve fund.
Capital reserve funds.
I suppose it's just a comment. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with this, Sean. The perpetual confusion that always results with CIP is a plan. It has nothing
Right.
to do
Reserve
with
is a plan.
funds or funding.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify that,
Yeah.
not that you don't understand what the difference is, but I think that adds to,
Many
Confusion.
department has interchanged the word CIP and capital reserve fund. That's partially because of previous finance director administration called them the same thing, and they're not.
and I understand that, but
Maybe-
I think that's sometimes the problem we have, where it's like, oh, Steve cut the CIP. No, you can't cut a CIP.
I cut the
There's-
contribution to capital
There's
reserve
funding
fund.
to it, because we can't all do it in 1 year, but I think, I don't know if you want to change
So-
that on the
I think
resolution,
it's okay
or
for now, but I
it's
think
okay.
department
In the
heads in the
future.
future can,
You're right.
do not call it the capital reserve.
We
It
have-
does say it correctly down below, and now therefore let it be resolved from the sewer capital reserve fund, so that's okay. It's just in that top,
In that top
in that
piece.
top title.
Yes.
um,
Yes, we create a plan and then we put money into the
Into a
capital
fund.
reserve
Yeah.
funds.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay, that's it, yeah, I don't have a problem with this, Sean.
Just to remind if we didn't have a town, so to speak, an engineering firm that we routinely go to, right? Would this go out to bid under those circumstances?
Yes, but
Mhm.
we did a process of getting costs, went to bid to get an engineering firm, and they gave us their costs. And because this is over 10,000, that's why I'm here, to get the approval and to get it out of the capital reserve funds.
But in that sense, the costs were bid on.
Right, it was
Yes.
I just want to
Yes.
sort of remind people that
Yes.
that's in the background on that, so.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Next vote is for Resolution 2017-18-09, operation of Keno games in the town of Newmarket.
Chair.
Sure.
This is, as the council may be aware, earlier this year, in order to fund some aspects of public kindergarten, the legislature passed Senate Bill 191, which allows Keno games in certain establishments in communities. Part of that legislation required that the municipalities vote to whether or not to authorize Keno in their community. The votes, which is rare for every community, has to go on the ballot. Even everything from the smallest town to the city of Manchester has to have on the ballot. Shall we allow the operation of Keno games within the town of Newmarket? The vote you're taking tonight is just to place the question on the ballot. If it's defeated, people can still petition to put the question on the ballot. It will go on the March election ballot, and you'll have to hold a public hearing in February.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, please.
That's your job.
I know.
Come on, I was ready. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-09, operations of Keno Games in the town of Newmarket.
Second.
Council Bowden? Or who are you done with?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm just
Okay.
stating facts.
There's a question in regards to how much actually goes to the kindergarten fund, education trust fund.
I don't know.
Okay. Guess I can read under RSA chapter 198.
I mean, if it's like the others, usually whatever costs for the program, the rest go into the education trust fund. I don't know exactly the number.
Council Weinstein?
So I've given this a lot of thought in the last few weeks, and I wanted to express some of my concerns to the council and to the community. The voters in Newmarket approved full-day kindergarten just a couple of years ago, and they did so, I think, because they value education here in town, and they did it without the promise of any extra funding. I think they did it because it's part of an adequate education for our community. I feel pretty strongly that it's the state's responsibility to fund education and to fund it adequately in the state of New Hampshire. And I don't think that this policy does that. I don't not support Keno. I don't really have any issues with Keno. But I don't support Keno to fund full-day kindergarten. My concern, or one of my concerns, is that it would place an unfair burden on Newmarket. There are some towns who are voting to put it on their ballots and some towns that aren't. Portsmouth rejected it. I believe Rochester approved it. Manchester approved it. So approved it to go on the ballots, and it still has another step. But it reminds me of donor towns and receiver towns, and I'm very cautious about this, and I find it really concerning. And I just don't think it's a fair way to fund a statewide system for education. So, knowing that there's a mechanism in place, if people feel strongly about it, I haven't gotten any feedback from anyone in the community about, business owners who want to add it to their establishments. I have gotten feedback from people who don't want Keno in town. And, I thought a lot about what my role is in this, but I think that we're elected to look out for the best interests of the residents of Newmarket, and so I can't, in good faith, support this resolution, and I'll be voting against it tonight. Thank you.
And I am going to second everything that Councilor Weinstein said. Same reasons right down the road. I think this puts an unfair burden on towns like Newmarket, is not unlike the donor towns. And for all that, potentially we're sold that it could do some good, I think that ultimately the lion's share of it, again, goes to Concord to get divvied up to those towns like Portsmouth that aren't going to have it. I think it's just one more instance where there's too much of a burden on the town of Newmarket, and I don't see that the positives outweigh the negatives on this. So I too will be voting not to put it on the ballot.
Council Cast?
I also agree, with one exception, and that is that I think if the town puts it to a vote and lets the townspeople decide, and they agree with us, that will send an even louder message at the state level, that the town is voted against it, not just the town council on behalf of the town. So I'd leave it to the town to decide.
They can petition if they want to.
Council Finch.
I have the same concerns that I'm kind of hearing across the board, where the idea of using Keno to fund kindergarten, a little bit bothersome to me in terms of the idea of donor towns, everything that was brought up. I'm a little torn at this point, the idea that whether or not the voters should be able to choose. The way it's worded, a part of me wants to kick it back to the town to vote on it, but since I'm against it personally, I'm a little bit torn at this point, I guess.
I think we'll have for both.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Nay.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Nay.
Counselor Pike.
What is that?
What do you mean?
What's the vote again? I'm kind of.
3 to 2.
3 to 2, aye.
Ayes are 3, nays are 2.
Not that it shouldn't matter, I just didn't have much of a strong feeling about it one way or the other, to tell you the truth, but in that case, I'll just let it go to the voters then. Aye.
Motion passes 4 to 2.
Okay. The resolution 2718-10, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with educational building consultants for door replace and opener addition at the Sunrise Center.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-10, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with educational building consultants for door replacement and opener addition at the Sunrise Center.
Second.
Chair. Prior to the facilities director speaking, there's an error in this resolution, besides the one that the vice chair just found. We need to have it read to withdraw up to $9,950 from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund. And for the council's information, currently there's $249,747 in that fund. We did also learn today that the Newmarket Housing Authority has indicated that they can provide about $5,000 towards the project. We're still saying up to $9,950, just because they're not sure exactly how much money they can provide. But we'll only withdraw the amount that we definitively need. So first, if the council would entertain a motion to amend it to withdraw $9,950, up to $9,950 from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Council Cast.
This discussion on the amendment, right?
Oh.
Yes.
That,
You have to, procedurally, you only can discuss the amendment first, and then it's the nature of the entire, after the facilities director.
I can do that.
Okay.
The amendment cleared that up for me.
Yep.
Thank you. I wasn't sure where we were headed. Okay.
So we're going to just vote on the amendment?
Right, to allow us to withdraw up to $9,950. Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Now the Director of Facilities.
Thank you. So this is to replace 2 exterior doors on the Sunrise Sunset Center. The existing 2 doors that we have to replace are actually rusted out to the point where you can actually stand inside and look outside, and there's no glass where you're supposed to be looking. It also allows us to put in an ADA opener, which is not in the facility at this particular time, and brings us in more compliance with the ADA laws for access to the facility. There will be 2 new steel doors, new frames, and an ADA opener on, I'm refer to it as the main entrance, or the right-hand side entrance to the facility.
Council Cast. Do you still have something?
No.
No,
Good.
okay. Council Weinstein.
So I'm assuming that these are the 2 doors that are by Kim's office.
Yeah, the two
Yeah,
side doors
the
of
two
the
side
building,
doors.
yes. The front door is actually technically only an egress by code, not an ingress.
And as someone who has spent some time at the senior center, these doors are a mess. So this is nice to see them being replaced. My only question is, in a couple resolutions from now, we're going to be talking about the security system for this building.
Mhm.
And does it make any sense to integrate with those doors the new key, whatever we're,
The access system?
yeah.
Actually, the system that we're putting in will allow for that. The
Oh, good.
crash bar systems that we have in there gets a little drive motor inside of it.
Okay.
So we're not replacing doors and all kinds of hardware to be able to do that. So that was already pre-thought of.
Good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Resolution 2017-18-11, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with Affinity Lighting for town street and decorative lighting upgrades.
I'll make a motion to accept Resolution 2017-2018-11, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with Affinity Lighting for town, street, and decorative lighting upgrades.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the council knows, we've been working on this project for some time. Councilor Bowden did. We've been working on this resolution for some time, this project for some time. It started out initially as replacing the decorative lights downtown with LED lighting. During the process, we discussed, talking to one contractor, they also discussed, I'm gonna use the term Cobra head, because that's the street lights that traditionally look, and if you ever think of what they look like a Cobra head, but also replacing those street lights throughout town. I worked with Eversource and was able to secure funding through them as part of their energy rebate project. And in addition, that one of the ways to fund this project without having to have the taxpayers hit the tax rate would be to, the Community Development Finance Authority has a set of federal money that they can loan out for energy projects. And one of the ones they really like doing right now is LED street lighting projects. So I've applied, and we should find out in 3 weeks whether or not we're approved for a loan at 2.5% to fund this project as well. This will replace every street light in town with LED lighting, as well as the decorative ones in the downtown area. For the council and the public's information, those are actually two separate billing types of lights. The street lights are billed on a flat basis, and the ones that are downtown are called city metered, and the ones that you see in parking lots are metered. So we pay a different rate for those. We got an initial proposal from Affinity Lighting out of Dover. We sought out other proposals and received one from Energy Management Consultants of Portland, Maine. There is a $600 difference with the company of Portland, Maine being $600 lower. I am recommending going with Affinity out of Dover. The reason why is, one, they're 2 miles down the road. If there's an issue, we won't have to worry about having travel time or being able to get somebody in to do that. And also, they're working with the majority of the communities in this area. So I know the Public Works Director, I know the Facilities Director, and I've all met with the companies, and we are still recommending Affinity, even though it's a slight difference in price. Just the customer service that we were getting is easier that way too. So we're recommending that we do this. We only go forward if we're approved by the CDFA. If the CDFA does not authorize the loan, then we won't do this project at this time and reapply later. We've already been committed to by Eversource for their share, so we're just waiting to see if we get this loan.
Councilor Thompson.
One of my questions, I think you just answered it. What happens if we don't get the loan and we approve this resolution? So we'll know in about 3 weeks, and then how, assuming a loan and assuming all of these things, when would this be done?
We believe the decorative lightings would be done before the end of the year, calendar year. The street lighting will be done after the beginning of the calendar year. They're actually, Eversource is using 2 pots of money, one from one budget year and one from the other. So we've been
Okay.
getting two, that's why there's a difference between the two.
And my other question is, based on not sure of the loan status, why do we need to vote on this tonight?
My reasoning would be just to move forward, and so when we do get the loan, that they're gonna have to start manufacturing the lights for the Cobra heads and putting those together. It's not just a simple taking a fixture and putting a new one in. They actually have to manufacture them, so I'd rather get that going as soon as possible. So we wouldn't have to wait for another 2 readings. If we get approved.
Well,
by the
can we table, we have another meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah,
We have a meeting before the 3 weeks or after the 3 weeks?
And when I hear say
One-
3 weeks, that's CDFA say about 3 weeks. It could be 4, it could be 2. I would rather I'm asking for the flexibility to say, if we get the approval, let me move forward with it so we can get it at least in the hopper, so we're not waiting longer. If we get approved in a week and a half, I'm gonna have to wait another half a week to sign any contracts
Okay.
and get it going. So I'm trying to get it expedited.
If you, yeah, if we don't get the loan
I
and we
can't
need to
sign it.
reapply,
Yep.
do we rescind, can you bring this back to the council,
I'm just.
assuming it passes,
Yeah.
assuming we vote, assuming it passes, can you bring this back to the council if you don't get a loan? A, report back in on it, and B, can we vote to rescind this
If
to go back to it?
If the loan does not come through,
Mhm.
I have to start over. Because I have to get new prices, because I'm gonna have to reapply.
Exactly, so so where would the record be that says this resolution will in essence not be fulfilled?
It says, this project will not go forward without approval of the CDFA. So if the CDFA doesn't approve it, this goes away. So I can't go forward without the approval of that loan.
Okay.
So,
Councilor Cass? I'm sorry, were you done?
I am now.
You don't have to be.
Just make sure there's a paper trail there, please, Steve.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councilor Cass?
I just had a question about the metered lights.
Mhm.
So just kind of stringing my thoughts together, are those in places where it makes sense to have, like some kind of sensor where they come on and off, or are they in areas where they need to be on all the time?
They are censored. It's the downtown fixtures.
Okay.
So they come on, it's also the parking lot lights. Mainly, if you think of them as our decorative lights, the non-Cobra heads, those are the metered lights.
Because I understand the LEDs are even more cost-effective if they're off when you don't need them.
Yeah, and they are. They're on timers.
And there's no
Yep.
upswing when you turn them back on
Yeah,
and
no,
off.
they're on that.
Okay.
So,
All right. So that's already in place?
it's already in place.
Okay, great.
Call the roll, please.
Yep.
Oops, sorry, excuse me, Councilor Bowden.
So I guess just, so I'm clear, you can't place the order to move ahead without the approval
Correct.
for funding?
Correct.
Okay.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
So that was the,
Town lighting. The next one is the sewer
the
bridge.
town, I see, yes.
You're on page 116.
Resolution 2017-2018-12, increase of sewer rates.
I'll make a, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. We'll let you take it from here. We don't have to say it.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-12, increase of sewer rates.
Many
No,
years.
no, need a
Second.
second.
Oh.
Second.
Many years ago, when we started with the wastewater treatment plant, I came forward to the town council and came up with a couple different plans to finance the plant and to pay for all the stuff that's coming down the road. As part of that, the town council at the point in time decided to do, instead of doing a one-time increase, decided to select the increasing plan of increasing it every year at 76 cents a year on the sewer rate. So I'm here to ask the town council to increase it this year. We do have a few more years after this. It's projected that we need to get to about $13.50 per 100 cubic feet. What's 100 cubic feet? It's 750 gallons. It's basically, as I put in here, it's a little under a penny and a half per gallon for someone to flush a gallon of water down the drain. For it to get pumped to the plant, to get treated, to get tested, and to make sure it goes into the river and it's safe.
Councilor Thompson.
I know this was the plan the schedule that
Yes.
was put in. As a personal note, I have and still have sometimes trouble voting yes on anything or no on anything or voting at all on anything water sewer because I'm not on them. So this is one case where I don't, sometimes it's hard to know what to do in representing
I
people.
think the big thing is, back when we first introduced this, it was actually $1.04 a year, and then we got the additional funding. I had Wright Pierce, because I've been running all the numbers and I created the model. I had Wright Pierce last year
Yeah.
run it. I didn't give them anything except for, all the inputs of what they should have, and they came out with pretty much the same 1350 is where we need to get to. So,
I guess that's my question, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. I know that we have a lot of expenses on that side, and you've done a heck of a job. Can you live with less than 76%? 76 cents?
no, because of what actually, if you start doing less, you're going to need more later. So what happens is we've created a fund, a sinking fund, that's growing, and now that we're going to start making payments, it's going to start to dip. And it gets to a point where it just levels out. So if you stop increasing the rates, then there's going to be a lack of funds at some point.
Call the roll, please.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden. Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 2017-18-13.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-13, increase of water rates.
Second, please. Somebody second.
Second.
And first off, the water rates have not moved since 2010. It's been 7 years since we moved the rates. We've come to a point where we need to start moving the rates up for water. We were hoping to, wait as long as we could, but we're at the point where we're going to be at a deficit if we don't start raising the rates a little bit. Plus, we have we've completed all the water goals that were done for the water department that were put forth by the town council back in 2011, which included the Macwell, Tucker development, included the water main going up the hill, the water main going on North Main Street, and I probably missed a project or two. But it's time that we actually have to start increasing the rates a little bit here and there to try and keep up with the increased costs of chemicals and other things. The other problem that hurt the water department this past year is we had a drought. And what happens with a drought? People use less water and you bring in less revenue. So that was a double hit on us. Instead of doing our average 140 million gallons during a year, we did 131 million last year, which put a damper on some of the revenues that came in.
Councilor Cast?
Sean, I'm getting very familiar with the way you forecast and look forward. So I'm just curious, on the previous resolution, there was kind of a schedule of increases, but you did mention that it sounded like this is not a one-time.
As I discussed it in the CIP,
Yeah.
I will be coming back because we completed all those projects with, as you remember, in the asset management for the next 10 years, it forecasted 8 million in water main replacement. We don't know what the cost is to bring McIntosh into treatment and to bring Tucker online. I'm actually working on those because I have those reports. I'm actually going to be coming to the council to go forward with a study to look at what the costs are with the McIntosh well and the Tucker well, so that we can come up with some sort of plan to try and so we can do it in a method so it has the least impact on the water users. And that's going to have to be input from the town council.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Resolution 2718-14.
Did you, oh, okay. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-2018-14, authorizing the town administrator to enter into a contract with Securadyne for visual surveillance and controlled access system.
Second.
Mr. Chair, before we get into the presentation by the facilities director, there's an error in the resolution. I'm asking for an amendment so it reads that we withdraw up to $23,711.50 from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund and $23,711.50 from the Dispatch/Police Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. Currently, there's $249,747 in the Building Fund and $182,842 in the Police Equipment/Dispatch Fund. The reason why it's in two different funds is that some of it is for the equipment that will be in this building, which is the building fund, but the technological part of that is the backbone of the system, which falls into security. And talk to the police chief, he has no issue with us withdrawing that from that fund because it will be falling under dispatch for surveillance during the day.
I'll make that amendment.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Just note that Counselor Finch was out of the room during the vote.
Okay. Are there any comments on this resolution? Councilor Thompson?
Just a procedural. I appreciate the motion for amendment. Just so you know, we do need to know where the funds were coming from. That was the note that I had here.
On the original one, I didn't put it in. The change for the funding format is a recent change to put it into dispatch and.
Right. But on this original one, it just said 47,423. You got to tell me where from.
Yeah.
Or that's a no. Okay? So the motion is appreciated.
He understood. He understands that.
That's all.
Thank you. I see no other.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just have a quick question about the dispatch capital reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And, because that leaves us with about $160,000. Are there any other big purchases that
Not
are
at this
planned?
point.
Okay.
And in fact, I think it's worth pointing out here is there was one of the items that was a planned purchase from that fund, which is substantially less than planned in terms of the outflow. So it
Okay.
seems.
There's enough
it
money.
seems prudent.
Good.
Call the roll, please.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
There's an item that was placed on the table at the last meeting by the council regarding the fire boat. I'd ask that the council, the council wishes to make a motion to withdraw that from the table and act on it this evening.
Somebody please make that motion. If they agree.
I'll make a motion to remove
Yep.
Resolution 2017-2018-07 from the table.
Yep.
Is that it?
Need a second?
Second.
The motion to table and not table, I take some off table is non-debatable, so it's an automatic vote, just to.
Okay, good.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. The fire chief is here to answer any further questions. I know there was questions on the number of calls, and the council was provided with that information between that and the meetings.
We don't need a motion to approve, in other words.
No, you already have a motion to approve from the last meeting.
And that remains in force.
It does,
now
because
that
you
it's
just
off
placed it
table.
on the table.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I provided the calls for service and the 3 quotes. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there's any other questions.
Councilor Weinstein?
I was just hoping maybe you could explain some of the differences between the boat that we currently have and then what this boat will provide. Like, just why is it better?
The current boat is essentially, it's an aluminum fishing boat. It'll flip over if you pull someone up over the side. It's just not, the new boat is a Zodiac military-approved boat. It's inflatable, so you can do whatever you want. You're not flipping it over. It's kind of like a tube. It just doesn't, it won't flip, it won't bob, pulling people in and out of the water. I'm sorry?
Has it ever happened? Flipped over?
The boat we currently have? No. No.
Councilor Thompson?
With having a better boat, an updated boat, whatever, with the community, the mutual aid agreements, do we think it would be getting more use?
No, currently, Stratham doesn't have a boat. Exeter has a boat, Newfields has a boat. Durham was leasing a jet ski, but I don't believe they have a boat. The calls for service, I don't see them increasing. It's typically something on the bay that we get utilized for, or on the river, because it's not very far to Durham from Piscassic. But I don't see us getting additional calls per se than what we currently
Okay.
do get.
Do those other communities have the Zodiac type boat?
Exeter does and Newfields does. Durham just has a jet ski, I believe. I don't
Right,
believe-
okay. And if Durham were to call, if Newfields were to call and need a boat, do our personnel need to go with it? Or are they trained in it where they can come grab our boat and not
No, we would have-
overtax you guys?
Only we would take our boat. We wouldn't just let someone use it. And one other thing I probably didn't fail to mention is typically when you go out, you deploy more than one boat. You don't just send one boat. So we're already, if we go out with ours, we're gonna have Newfields, ask Newfields or Exeter or someone with a boat to assist us. We never go alone when we do these types of operations. Typically, you'd like to see 3 boats, but at a minimum 2.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor Cast?
So I'm just looking at the CIP request, and I note that it's anticipated $1,000 against an original, I think the original cost is 20, so I'm assuming that life is 20 years?
Yes.
Anticipated to be, okay. But it's inflatable, so I don't know if it's, like, are there certain kind of maintenance costs to keep that viable?
No, it's a military approved, it's a MilPro, that's what it's all military approved. there's really no maintenance to it, but after 20 years,
Yeah.
they say it's seen its useful life.
Okay, and one aspect I thought I remember from the last, I thought it was from the last meeting, was that this, maybe it was the CIP committee, so forgive me, that it gets us in compliance or reduces our liability as well?
Well, the
There's an
current
aspect of
boat we
that?
have is a huge liability.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a liability.
Okay.
That's the issue.
All right, but there's no like certification for a proper kind of equipment for this, you know, like, or specs that the town needs to meet to have this kind of equipment?
Everybody has to be trained on it.
The training for the people?
The training.
The equipment, it's the boat itself? It
No.
doesn't need to be upgraded or
No.
Oh.
kept up to certain, you know, over that 20 years, like
No,
maybe?
no.
Okay. All right.
And we store it inside so it doesn't sit out in the sun.
Yeah.
It may last longer than that. Some people have to park their stuff outside, and the sun's the worst thing for it.
Mhm.
Ours will be stored under cover, so it'll probably last a lot longer than 20, but that's what,
The
Typical.
types of calls that we get versus, say, Portsmouth or Portland or Rye, they have a different type of boat than what we would use because they have to go out
Ocean.
in open waters and put fires out or actually go out to the shoals to address calls out there. So yeah, they have a much more significant boat than we do.
More bigger.
Boat bigger.
Bigger.
What will you do with the old fishing boat? Will that, you'll sell that, or?
That boat,
not worth it.
to my knowledge, was purchased with drug forfeiture money from the police department, so I don't know how that all works. We would definitely look at getting rid of it, but I don't know how those rules work with that. That's really how I received the boat, was through the PD
We're gonna have to
initially.
go through, before we sell it, we have to look at the grants and how it was done. There's probably federal rules that we'll have to follow to surplus the property. And they may have to go through their agencies to say, does anybody need a boat?
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
it'll get sold. or given
Disposition of
somewhere.
same or
Yeah.
donated somewhere, or, I don't know. Yeah.
I see no more questions. Call the roll, please.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay. So, we have, under new business, we have 2 appointments to consider for, first for the Energy and Environment Advisory Committee. We have an application from Donald Sanders. Again, that's for the Energy and Environment Advisory Committee. Could I accept a motion to approve? Mr. Sanders, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments?
Which one?
Please call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And for the CIP committee, we have a reapplication by longstanding member Russ Simon, who lists under his qualification that he's been there and done that.
That was hysterical. That's awesome.
Been there and done that, but the term of expiration should actually be March of 2020, not August of 2020.
Okay. All righty. Could I have a motion to accept his application?
Make a motion to accept, or to approve Russell Simon to the CIP committee for a term to expire in March 2020.
Second. Second from Council Bowden. Any comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And we have first reading of Resolution 2718-15, Town Council Chamber Dais Improvements. Whereas the existing council chamber dais, electrical cabling, and audio systems are in need to updating as well as overall appearance, and whereas the Director of Facilities has solicited proposals from several contractors for the repairs to systems and structure, and whereas the existing systems are experiencing operational malfunctions, now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that Town Council authorizes the Town Administrator to enter into an agreement with Educational Building Consultants, Access AV, and Daniels Electric for Town Council dais improvements with a costing not to exceed $10,000 utilizing INET funds. Net current balance is $27,385. Okay. Do we have any correspondence to the town council?
No.
And do we have any closing comments by town councilors? Next council meeting is October 4th. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I have an item.
Okay.
We didn't appoint a council member to the energy. Sorry, I just
Yeah, I thought of that earlier.
remembered
I
that.
forgot it.
Yeah, so did I.
So do we have a counselor that has decided they want to do this?
I would volunteer. Or, sorry. Oh, that was me.
I am in favor, so, what do you need at this point?
Somebody needs to make a motion to appoint Council Weinstein to the Energy, whatever committee. The
Oh,
EAC.
wait, she's supposed to make the motion.
No, somebody else, this is one of those rare ones that somebody else is.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Fitch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cass.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
And with that,
I'm sorry, just,
go ahead.
can I, is an alternate needed on the
I don't know
council?
what the rules said.
If we need an alternate, you want to come back next time after we look at the...
Sure.
We will
Okay.
bring that up at the next agenda if it's an alternate is needed. And with that, looking around, seeing no last-minute pants, we are adjourned.